we're interested in exploring this theme of sustainability and luxury through the lens of cognac. That's kind of the goal of this snippet. Bonjour, Frank. Hi, Frank. Ça va?
Ça va bien, oui.
I'm good. So I'm curious to see how you think, what you think about this tension between luxury, sustainability, and globalization. It seems to me that globalization, on one end, it helps sustain the market for luxury. We're in a globalized world, yet at the same time, it threatens what the very definition or the very essence of what luxury is. So I'm curious what you think about that tension.
I think globalization has good things and bad things. I think the good, I'll start with the good. The good thing about globalization is it gives luxury an opportunity to maintain the craftsmanship. So, example, there are people in France that were 200 years ago, 400 years ago, 1,000 years ago, that were specialized in making carpets, beautiful carpets that were used by the elite, by the aristocracy. And eventually, this aristocracy sort of faded away, and then the bourgeois took over, and the carpet business changed. And eventually, there was, from thousands of factories, there were one or two left down. But globalization allowed some of those people to have a fast growth. So I'm thinking, for example, the Middle East. So you have people in Dubai, suddenly they build a very fancy hotel, and a second fancy hotel, and a 37th fancy hotel. And to make them fancy is they need to reach out to this craftsmanship, which was meant for the elite. So this globalization has allowed those people making very specific products and selling one a week, one a month, suddenly to have an output of many hundreds produced, not for the traditional buyer that may have been in Germany or in Sweden or in England, but suddenly in the Middle East. So globalization allowed for this expansion because it allowed you to reach people that still exist, but they're not the same as they used to be. So you may be making some very particular fancy leather gloves, for example. And the market used to be traditionally in Norway and in England and Spain or something like this, but it faded away, and therefore you have to close the business. But through globalization is you can still work, and maybe you're just selling 80% of your gloves in the South Island of Japan, because this is where your market is. So this globalization, this technology that has enabled the globalization, has allowed luxury makers to widen the scope of the target, of the type of people that would buy the product, and reach them out. So that's good. As an example, there's many other examples, but this is the one I wanted to talk right now. What's not so good is, unfortunately, when the luxury company is a mass producing luxury company and not so much of a true elitist high-end luxury, is they will tend to develop mass production in order to actually sell in every one of these countries, because of the standardization of the world. Is now there's not one single type of customer, but there's multiple type of customers standardized in every country. And then they have to widen the production. Sometimes they have to decentralize the production and have multiple areas of production. And before, maybe there was a country of origin effect, which was, this is made in Italy. And now it's not just made in Italy anymore. It's also made in Romania, and maybe made in China, and made in multiple places. And therefore, these companies started slipping away from luxury. And I think they became just premium brands, and very focused on and managed by financial advisors who are looking at the volumes, they are looking at the growth, and maybe they are investing in markets which are growing far away from the main markets, and they're starting to lose grasp of the concept of luxury, and they're just becoming more expensive products that are pretending to be luxury, and then when something happens, they get very destabilized, like the rest of the products, because they haven't kept it rare, exclusive, and they just over-invested in production, over-invested in inventory, over-invested in the machine, manufacturing all of this, and all the stuff required to sustain that, and they're collapsing because they didn't follow the real concept of luxury to start with.
It's fascinating to see how you frame that tension. To me, it seems it's a in addition to this premium versus luxury
That's right.
tension, I see it's almost a bigger existential, at least existential, maybe it's too big of a word, but a, you know, a real soul searching of luxury. What does luxury really mean? Is it a return? Are we returning back to simpler, older ways of doing things? Is that what luxury will be moving forward? Does luxury change? Does it maintain? What's the essence of luxury that's timeless? Is there a timelessness to it? Is it a matter of practices, or is it just a matter of skill and location? So these are things that are really interesting questions to see, especially as we move forward and globalization begins to shift.